Hey, my name is Patrick from Prism Supply. I'm going to be kind of showing you a little more in-depth look at our new tail lights, as well as our new tail light boards that are built into our Generation 2 PS41 and box chopper tail lights. If you have our Gen 1 PS41 or box chopper tail lights, we still will carry replacement LEDs that'll fit in those on our website, because these new Gen 2 boards won't retrofit into your Gen 1 tail lights. Now we'll kind of talk through some of the features with these Generation 2 LED boards and taillights that make them unique. So when you get a Gen 2 taillights, the PS41 box chopper, they have the LED board screwed in with wires installed and everything already, like ready to rock. So if you want to just run it as is, the 3-stranded wire that we already have on there, you can just use this right away. But if you do want to do what I said, where you can run cloth covered wire out the back of it instead of this black heat shrink that's a set length, I'll kind of show you how to do that right now.
So when you get it from us, and then even when you buy it on its own, it's going to have heat shrink all the way up to that connector. To make it a lot easier to get these off, you're going to want to cut back some of that heat shrink so you can pull each wire individually. So I'll cut back about, honestly, I do like 6 inches just because it's better to have more than not enough. Now I have space to pull each of these wires individually. Now you can actually pull out the wires that will supply with it out of this connector using that little wire release hole, which we have labeled on the board. So it's that piece, that hole right there. You'll just take a pick. So I'm using just a pick like this, and you'll just push it into that hole, pushing down. I like to do it on like a cloth surface like this, just so you don't scratch up or damage any of the electronics on the front side of it. You'll press on that wire release hole, and I kind of brace the board while I'm pulling, just so I'm not pulling the board too. And then you'll push that down and then pull out the wire. So it shouldn't require that much force if you're pulling one wire at a time and you're pushing down that wire release hole. And you'll just do that exact same thing with these other ones. So I put my back finger against the board like that so I can pull on the wire without moving the board. Push that down, pull on the wire, and it should just pop right out, just like that. So I'll just do this ground one last. And now we have the original wire harness that we provided with it off. And then now we have just this board on its own. So here's just a rough cut end of some of our cloth covered wire that we sell in a whole bunch of different colors. We'll just strip off a little bit under 1/2 inch. So these are just some automatic wire strippers, but any will do. Just strip off about that much. Like I said, just 5/16 to 1/2 inch is generally good enough. I strip it off like that, and then what I'm doing is I'm just twisting these to kind of twist them all into one more solid core, just so that it can push in a little bit easier to this connector. So pushing the wire in, we have our stripped end here. We're gonna push it into the stop, this middle connector. It helps if you press this wire release hole down when you're doing this too. But just line it up with that, push down this wire release hole, push in the connector just like that, and now you're fully connected in. Your tail light's wired up. This won't come out on its own if you've pushed it in there correctly like that. I'm pulling pretty hard and that's not coming out. Okay, so we just changed out the wire on this LED board. We just pushed in that new green single wire. Same grommet that was in there, this little guy, when you received it in the first place, you can pop it right back in. It fits perfectly with that cloth covered wire we have. So we definitely recommend putting that grommet back in. So when you're putting this back in here after you put that grommet in, it's just those same exact 2 screws. We use the exact same screws, this is good to know, for this entire taillight. So don't worry if it's one of the ones from the lens or one of the ones from the circuit board. They're all the exact same size and length. So you can just take any of the 6 screws that you took out when you were taking this thing apart and just start threading them back in there. And this screw that I'm putting in right now is a grounding screw. You can kind of see there's some silver plating around it. That's how you know that that's the grounding screw. So these Gen 2 taillights and LED boards will work perfectly with our single wire taillight match box and then our single wire hydraulic brake switch. So that's kind of the gist of our new Gen 2 taillights and LED boards. These are available for sale right now on our website on their own. If you want to build your own custom taillight, your own custom whatever, these are perfect for that. And then also are already built into our Gen 2 PS41s and Gen 2 box choppers.